Very good afternoon to all. Welcome back to the third day afternoon session of FDP Phase 2. Myself, Murugesh, Assistant Professor in Electrical and Electronics Engineering. I feel privileged to welcome you all on behalf of Sri Venkateswara College of Engineering for AICT sponsored 2-week online faculty development program on fostering ethics, moral values, and character building in technical education from 10th to 23rd December 2020, organized by Department of Mechatronics, Sri Venkateswara College of Engineering, Bangalore. It's great pleasure to have Dr. Lata MS Ma'am, Professor, Department of Civil Engineering, Sri Venkateswara College of Engineering, Bangalore, here with us as a resource person. Ma'am is going to deliver a talk on ethics in journal publication. It's a great honor for me to introduce such an eminent personality. Dr. Lata MS Ma'am, currently working as a professor in Department of Civil Engineering at Sri Venkateswara College of Engineering, has 17 years of experience in teaching and research at IISc, holds undergraduation and post-graduation in structural engineering from Bangalore University and PhD from Top Institute Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. The area of interest include the sustainable materials, composite, earthquake analysis, morpho-analysis study of concrete. She has published more than 30 papers in national and international Scopus journals and conferences, has been reviewer of the most prior journal of materials in civil engineering, a Springer publication. She is a lifetime member of ISTE, ICI, IEI, and member of IEEE. The major achievements of Ma'am carried are firstly received a prestigious award for research publication award from VGST Government of Karnataka. Secondly, Ma'am received a grant of 20 lakhs amount from VGST Government of Karnataka scheme on KFIST in 2019. And thirdly, she has published and received the first examination report from Government of India Patent Office on innovation of innovative building product, received grant for Government of India. With this brief introduction, I take this opportunity to welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
On behalf of management and my own behalf, once again I welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Now I request Dr. Lata ma'am to take over the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you once again, sir. Thank you for a good introduction. Thank you. Good afternoon to all. Hope the screen is visible.
Yes, madam.
Yes, sir. Sir, thank you. Thank you. At first, I thank Murugesh sir for a good introduction, and I congratulate once again the Department of Mechatronics for organizing AICT sponsored 2-week online FTP second phase, fostering ethics, moral values, and character building in technical education. I take up this invitation of as a resource person in presenting today. Already we have met in the first phase regarding the key to plagiarism check. Today I would like to spend my time with you all talking about ethics in journal publications. So which is very important as a researcher or a teacher or anybody as a part we have to publish. So moving ahead, I would take up the privilege to present here as a resource person. Now, the title is the ethics in journal publications how it is related to the fostering ethics, moral values, and character building in technical education. In technical education, if you have to speak, it is having a vital role because every one of us are doing research. Every one of us are doing research which is directly or indirectly being related to ethics, moral, and character building. So we have to publish our research work into a publications. So there's a lot many questions because even our scholars and when I met some of the researchers, they have very biased in nature which publication have to pick up after writing a paper. Once you finish your paper, which publication has to be taken up. So in that we play a major, or the publications play a major role as an ethics. Ethics is involved in the journal publication. So the outline is like this: the road to publication, preparing your paper, writing in English or as a foreign language, plagiarism, self-plagiarism and dual publication, dealing with reviews, reviewing aid, writing, maximizing your citations and journals, right? These are the outline of my presentations today. Sorry, my camera is not working due to some reasons, technical reasons. I have to go off the screen. So for which I'm sorry for this inconvenience. Now, to take up a journal paper, if I talk to a student, it happens so once in a time I met a group of students in the class. I asked, what is a journal? They said it's an ordinary newspaper, ma'am. But it is not so, not at all so, because we have to create an awareness. As a student, we have to, as a teacher, we have to create an awareness to the student, telling that it is not a newspaper. Journal paper is different and newspaper is different. It's just a symbolic or representation of the same into a journal paper and a newspaper. They say that there's no much difference. Even the newspaper gives the today's highlights, today's brief. Similarly, the journal paper is also giving the highlights of the today's happening, the research works happening, but they are both are very different. It cannot be related. Yeah, this is one of the very important and beautiful picture where I picked up from one of the research work telling that this is submit MS. That means submit manuscript. Once you submit the manuscript, a quality control check will take place. You can go with any software. AGU is one of the software. Then once you go with quality control, if it is not getting qualified, your submitted manuscript is not qualified, you have to again submit back. You have to submit back the same script, making the revisions required. Then you have to again go to the next stage as cross check. Already we discussed in the last phase of the presentation, we were talking about the cross check references which are picked up from the Springer or Science Direct, which is available, which will be checking the plagiarism there. Then once it is passing to the cross check, if you find some error which is not qualifying, then we have to look back to the quality control, or you have to make some more corrections to be involved. Once if it is not crossing the cross check, the paper is crashing down. It is crashing down to less than 5%. It is crashing down less than the 5%. That means it is not qualifying. Your paper is not meeting the standards. It will crash down. Immediately it will crash down. Then suppose the paper is qualified, passing the cross check, then it will meet the editor. It will meet the editor. The editor will again review the paper and assign to a reviewer. This was all done in the last phase presentation. Maybe a gist of it I'm telling here again. And then the editor will select 3 reviewers. Most commonly it will go to 3 reviewers or 2 reviewers, right? Not more than 3. The maximum 3 reviewers. Then he will select 3 reviewers, pass on the paper. Then the reviewers will give the reviews and gives a editorial decision. Once the reviewers give reviews, at first, if the review is not at all satisfying, it will go back to the resubmit. It will go back to the resubmit. See the sound, it is like crashing down, it is going up. That sound, wave sound, we hear it. If the reviews is done, then we have to wait for the editorial decision. If editorial decision is not convinced, again it will crash down, again it will come down. So this is a complete picture of flow taking place while paper submission is going on. Once, if it is not convincing, then again it will go to editor. You can see here the dotted arrow, then it will crash down. Again we have to resubmit, then quality control, cross check we have to do, then again pass to the editor. Once everything is thorough, it will reach the copy editing and conduction. For copy editing and production, it will undergo, where it will be reviewed and it will be copy edited. It will be placed to the software where the copy editing will be taken place. Once it is convinced or qualified, then your publication takes place. Your publication is achieved. So these are the stages one has to undergo, and we can see where and all it goes as ups and downs and crashes. This is complete gist of the paper running through the publication, right? I'll play once again I'll play. You can have one more look of it. It has been taken from one of the paper. Submit the manuscript, then quality control, then if it is not satisfying, then portal provisions, then cross check, then it is rebacked, then it is getting crashed, then it is editor, then select 3 reviews, then review and editorial decision will take place, then it will crash, then again it will get crashed if editorial decision is not convincing. Then again we have to resubmit, again it will go to the editor, then again it will go to the reviewer, then again it will be reviewed, decision will be passed, then editorial decision is, if it is qualified, then you may find that copy editing and production taking place. Once it takes place, then you go for a publication. This is a complete done this. Now we have to understand, we may all be knowing of what it is exactly, but still I'm trying to put it across so that it may help one or two who is really confused with the paper publication and how the ethics is mattering here in the publication. So what is journal? There are many people who described in what is the definition of a scientific paper as a written and a published report describing original research results. Describing original is very, very important one word. Originality, the work what we do it in the laboratory and get a result of it, you have to reproduce that, not the reproducing the same data whatever it is existing. This means that the written scientific paper must meet certain requirements concerning the writing process. They stressed that the process leading to publication is equally important as the content, style, and organization of published paper. Yes, this is the uttermost care has to be taken because it has to fit into the content, style, and organization of the published paper. So now, why we have to publish? That is a major question. Why do researchers write a paper, or why we have to publish? There are many reasons. I need not publish also. Not required, not necessary. Whatever the results I get in the laboratory, when I do some research work or some innovative, I need not publish also. But if you publish, what happens today? There are several reasons that motivate authors to write their research in a formal manner. That which includes scientific communication. You'll get to know people around. Ideal and legal protection of intellectual property. Yes, that is what call it as IPR. Patenting, legal property and intellectual property. Gaining reputation. Yes, you'll be identified. That is a gaining reputation. Your CV will be built high. Obtaining a better understanding of one's idea and results, isn't it? So when you are getting your own results, you'll be primed to telling that you are understood something novelty in that. Novelty of work is very important in research publication. Adding progress to the scientific research. Yes, today it has to grow because the nation has to grow, means we have to invent things, then only it is possible to progress, and there is a definitely with all this a career progress will take place in writing the research papers. This is the very important. Moreover, gaining reputation and legal protection of intellectual property is very, very important because that is your result. You have to publish, not that you conduct a work and in the laboratory and somebody else publish. No, no, no. We have to take the attack most to publish the same which we have demonstrated in the laboratory. Now, what is the best structure of paper? Yes, this is very, very important to define what is the best structure. Most of us may know what is the best, but few may not, or some confusion may be there. I just want to inculcate some information. Maybe you're already aware of it, but some little more information or may not be, I would like to share with you all here. So, paper must begin with scientific or specific research question that we call it as abstract. Every journal paper has an abstract. So, specific research question which results in a well designed research protocol that plans the overall approach. So that should be a paper. When I talk to a student, you have to publish a paper, they don't understand really. They say that, is that a notebook paper? Is this a textbook paper? What you're taking? You which page number, ma'am? They ask. Which page number, ma'am? Which book you are referring to? Which what is that paper? They understand. They ask a question. I say no, that is not the paper. What I'm talking. I'm talking about the journal paper. Then I have to pick up one journal example and show them this is what we call it as a paper, not a newspaper, not next textbook page number, not your notebook paper. It is a journal paper. Whatever the work you are doing at UG level or PG level or PhD level, you have to publish it. Then only you carry weightage for your research. So they are asked many questions: what it contains, how it contains. Even though we give example of many examples of a journal published and available on the websites of many journal publications, they may not understand. Then we have to give a input of it, telling that it consists of title page, abstract, introduction, literature survey, methods, results, discussion, conclusion, acknowledgement, and references. So totally 10 listed topics are involved in paper publishing a paper, which is very, 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 very important, right? So 10 topics are involved in publishing a paper. Maybe addition to this also it is there. This is only a general outline of a paper, what I'm talking here. Now, while preparing a paper, I've taken some example like preparing your paper, read the instruction before we start any paper. Like I have to pick one journal paper, I have to read the instructions before you write, use the templates, right? Because the number of journals available which describe their own way, their own style of publishing, right? Their own templates. So we have to freeze in our decision. We have to discuss and freeze one of the journal, which journal it has to and go for a publication. Then for to that journal, I have to read the instruction before you write, before you use the template. According to the template, we have to produce. Now, I'll be talking more about the last the previous this slide to the end of the session. We coming to the title page. I would like to give some more important. What should be the title page? How it should be? This is the first and most readable page in your research. Agree? Yes, I do agree because whenever I pick up a paper, I'll see whether this paper title will go into my research work, whether I can cite this paper. Is this important? So this is the one which is giving the first information to us. So this page must include the research title, name and address of all authors, and the submission date. Yes, definitely. And research title is defined as the fewest possible words that adequately describe the contents of the paper. That means you are putting everything the paper which may go any number of pages, but you are putting it in a concise way, in a freezing words. You are putting in a freezing words. You are arresting the whole content into a small captions or giving a small title, which when I read that title, I should understand what that consists of. That should be the title of any research paper, whatever we are publishing. And there are different types of titles also. Example, the descriptive, the declarative, interrogative, compound titles. There are many types. If I say descriptive, that describe what the paper is about. It will describe what the paper is about. Declarative, make a statement about the results present in the paper. And interrogative is a question mark, is a question mark. And compound titles combine several of above separated by colons and question marks. You find some of many of these titles available. So you have to choose which tab you would like to put that. Most of the times we don't prefer compound statements as a title because compound titles will be a big lengthy statement itself. So I would like to pose with a declarative, make a sentence about the results presented in the paper. Not exactly declarative, a little combination of descriptive and declarative would be fine according to my opinion. For example, this is one of my paper wherein I have given the title as well string properties of stabilized earth block. And you can see one more. This is an example what I have taken up. Swell string properties of stabilized earth blocks. And this is a volume extreme ultraviolet holographic imaging with numerical optical sectioning, and one more paper as time resolved force distribution analysis. So each papers, three papers have highlighted here. Each paper has their own meaning of giving the title, whether it can be descriptive or declarative or anything else having a different types of titles. Now, I would like to give some more information, some tips to write an effective title. The title helps in identifying the main issue of the paper. Yes, it should help, isn't it? Now, for example, anything like I take some substance or material, if I say the word of that or name that material, I should understand, okay, this is this type of material. Not too long or too short. Begin with the subject of the paper. Yes, always you begin with the subject of the paper. Make sure of accuracy. Accuracy is a very big word. Precision is required. Do not add abbreviations unless they are required. And it should be known if the abbreviations are used in the title, it should be known. So most of the time I recommend to my scholars not to use any abbreviations anywhere throughout the paper. Once they mention initially, it should continue. So you try to avoid these points in the title of the paper. Now, how to preparing your paper? It should be grammatically fit. It should have grammar and punctuation, which are very, very, very important. Most of the times, what happens? Our papers which are being submitted rejects telling that poor English. The editor will tell it's a poor English and he rejects. He may not look into the results, he may not look into the contents. He will just reject telling that it is not meeting the standards, it's not meeting the standard. A very simple English is very good for writing a journal. Very simple. Just we have to convey the information to the person who is reading the paper. It should be that impressive, that clear. So, poor grammar, spelling, and punctuation leading to misinterpretations and ambiguity. Give the impression of lack of care in preparation. Yes, definitely poor grammar, spelling, and all that. Most of the time, I tell to my students, I correct this spelling, and tell my students, please improve your spelling. Don't do any spelling mistakes. Can upset some references and make them more critical than otherwise, and can be difficult to overcome, but it is essential to do so. Yes, it is very difficult, but it is not that difficult wherein you cannot overcome. You can overcome. So these are the like sitting and writing a journal paper with your doing research or laboratory work is very, very easy because you know how to proceed. If the results whatever we got is not correct or not meeting that requirement, then I can redo the process, I can redo the specimens, I can redo the casting, I can redo the testing. That is, I feel as a researcher, I feel that is easy, but research writing a paper is very, very difficult because it takes months together. Sitting and writing takes months together because it has to, everything, whatever we do in the laboratory has to fit in, and it should be explaining complete content of the work. Now coming to the abstract, I was telling abstract, it is very, very important. It should be brief. Abstract is a short description, a research paper, a thesis, research report. Telling, if you read that, usually when you take up a paper, I go through what is the abstract. I read the abstract. When it covers entire thing, it covers entire thing. It tells understand purpose, problem, methods, results, and conclusion. Everything is included in the abstract. So writing paper itself is a very big thing, but after writing, putting it in an abstract form, you would have found that the difficulty. Most of you also may not be. I may not insist on that. May not be also. Wherein this abstract writing, many a times it goes on iteration, it goes on revision. Though we may write the full length of paper, but abstract writing is a little time tricky and time taking. So one has to be very careful because one, if the person is reading the message or the information should fit into his understanding. Types of abstracts, they can be an descriptive, informative, and critical. So you have different types, that is descriptive, informative, and critical. Example I have given here, which is published. Coming to the next third part, introduction. The main purpose of the introduction is to give the reader about journals, general subject area to a particular field of a research. Yes, I ask the students to write the introduction of the work, whatever you have carried out. You have to write in such a way that when you start writing the introduction part, it may have to hold to part. It should come, go to the, like a triangle. You can think of a triangle with a base. You have to start from the base to the apex. That way, the introduction should flow. That means you're trying to tell that it is having a wide range of research work, but your work is concise or precise to or limiting to a particular work. It places your work in a theoretical context and enable the reader to understand, appreciate your objectives. Yes, it is very important. In addition, it should bring out the importance of the subject and present an overview of current research of the on the subject, isn't it? That is very, 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 very important. So it places your work in a theoretical context and enables the reader to understand. In addition, it should bring out the importance of the subject and present an overview of the current research on the subject. Yes, that is so very, very important. But writing all this introduction part, I tell you that every one of us, including me, I should take the care of plagiarism, because we refer to many journal papers and start writing, sitting and start writing with the introduction, wherein it happens knowing, or I was telling the last, unintentionally we undergo plagiarism. When I check, most of the words would have been covered. It is unintentionally happened, but it is my duty to correct it and then submit to the journal. The exclusive and assignable legal right given to the originator for a fixed number of years to print, publish, perform, film, or record literary, artistic, or musical material is copyright. So this is very, very important. That is, now writing an introduction part is very difficult. Every stage is difficult in paper writing, and moreover introduction, because we will be talking general, from general topic to the precise topic. We are flowing from the broad to narrow end. So that way, it is, copyright is very, very, plays a crucial role. It happens we may overlap the content of other papers. Introduction usually starts with a paragraph that introduces the reader to the general field of study. That is what. Then subsequent paragraphs should provide answers to the following questions in the maximum of 2 pages. I may not tell maximum of 2 pages, maybe 1 page or half a page, or it depends. It depends on the work. It depends on what is the problem. Why was the research worth doing? Are there any existing solutions? Why did you use this particular model or theory? What are its advantages? What were your objectives from doing this research? So these questions has to be answered in the introduction. So broad to narrow, we have to move in the introduction, covering most of the questions. If you put across these questions to yourself, you may answer well with all the, or you may write the introduction part very well. Coming to the next part is next stage is a literature survey, which is very important to discover what information exists. Yes, we already we know that what is literature survey, to discover what this information exists in our topic of interest, a platform to identify your work and whether it is explicit or outstanding, and to avoid duplication, summarize and beware of plagiarism. Yes, these top 10 points has to be very well remembered and it should not be duplicated. Yes, so we should be very much careful while writing the literature survey. It should not be duplicated. You can pick your paper related to the work, understand, and every time I myself I take up a paper. Today also I read the journal papers which is being recently published, which is related to my work. I pick up the paper, I read 1 or 2 or 3 times, I go through the content, I understand, I grind it, understand, and what I try to do is, on the back side of the same paper, I take a printout of it, and the back side of the paper I try to put it across on my own words. I'll try to put it. I'll call it as draft one. I'll call it as draft one. Then after 5 days, I'll go through the paper once again, the same paper, I'll go through it. I'll understand even better, I may understand. Again, I'll write, summarize the whole paper on the back side of the same paper where the page is empty. I'll write draft two, one, the summarized content of that paper. When I read those two, draft one and draft two, I may find very much difference. It has got filtered content and filtered and to the topic. Summarized content I may find. So therefore, there may not be overlapping of words or statements taking up. So in that way, I may avoid plagiarism or any copywriting also. Methodology is, yes, this is our own work. It's a beautiful topic as methodology, which is we can write the process of conducting the experiments in the laboratory, or if you are doing on your software or anything as applicable as circuit or non-circuit laboratories, you can keep drawing, wherein you can write elaborately and neatly and precisely about the description of the experiment being started, referring to the codes or any other references you have made, and summarizing or putting them across. It is available so and so, we can definitely include. So telling that part, this part should be direct and simple description of the methods. That is what I'm telling. It should be simple description of the methods used in your study. Each method should be described in separate section. The methodology section differs from one research to another. Yes, definitely. If I'm writing, the other researcher who is writing has different, definitely, because we are doing different work. Different, same thing cannot be duplicated, but it may be duplicated depending upon the parameters being bounded or taken. Depending on the type of research paper, empirical papers, something like empirical papers also are available. Methodology section includes studied material, the area description, methods, techniques, and applied theory. Depending on the type of research paper, we may find some papers like case study papers, includes application of existing methods, theory or tools, and the special setting in this piece of work. Depending on the type of research paper, we may find methodology of papers also, which may include materials, detailed procedure of novel experiment, novelty. If novelty is a big word, it's a big word. Novelty, I ask every student, what is a novelty in your project? What is a novelty in your research work? Could you please explain? Yes, novel is a very big word. Scheme, flow, and performance analysis of a new algorithm. And it can be a theory paper also, what I was telling, which may include some principal concepts, model, major framework, and derivation. So you may find different papers, varieties of papers, which may vary with the methodology, whether it can be empirical or case study or methodology papers or theory papers. Now you can see this is some pictures which I've taken, I've picked up from the data available. But seeing we can see how beautifully people are working. We are also working in the laboratory. It is very common fact. You can understand the following sequence. Begin a single section with statement of materials used in the study. Describe each procedure. Describe each procedure and technique used in the study. Describe the design of any experiment used in the work. Similarly, if a theoretical or modeling component is utilized, it should also be incorporated in the initial portion of the methods. Finally, you should describe the statistical analysis method that were analyzed to utilized to analyze the results, most likely in the final section of the methods. So this sequence has to be followed in writing the methodology. But at the same time, we have to remember, do not use a passive voice. Yes, in the methods section, we have to be careful with that passive voice. Keep explanations brief and concise. Too elaborative also it is not. Sometimes a reviewer will not look into the too lengthy description also. He may not recommend. Again, he may pass back the reviews telling that you have to be improve English, or he may say you have to reframe the statements. And finally, after methodology, we may start writing the results, because those are the contents which are telling that once you do methodology or the experiments, you'll come out with the results. The results section should present and illustrate your findings without discussion and interpretation. Yes, obviously, it is having its own discussion and interpretations. It should include any, it can also include some statistical analysis during the research, whatever we have conducted. The findings should be presented well in table form and figures. We usually, when we do experiment, it should be very careful that we take images and give some captions to that, as figure 1, figure 2, figure 3 captions. A very correct precise captions are required for the table and the figures. And the research section should be included accordingly. I follow elsewhere means findings listed in association with the methods. What are the findings? What are the results we got? Highlight the difference between your results and the previous publications. If your research is completely away from any other previous publications, fine. If not, you have to highlight the difference. You have to bring out the difference. And then it should be having statistical analysis, the results of performance analysis, a set of principal equations or theorems supporting the assumptions should be made clearly. So it should be followed. A unique way of presenting the results is very, very important. And unique way, you can, it is preferably, I preferably follow elsewhere, or you can follow any other science direct or any science good journals publications which include give the description about the research sections, how to produce. And then some more useful tips I would like to tell. I was just telling here, we should not be in a passive voice. So similarly, I would like to give here, use past tense when you refer to your results. A figure is worth 1,000 words. So you have to use it to illustrate your data finding, illustrate, give examples. The captions of the figures and tables should contain sufficient information. Captions, the names, and make it self-explanatory. No illustration should duplicate. Yes, no examples should be duplicated. The information described elsewhere in the manuscript. There should not be repetitive illustrations to be made. Illustrations should be used only for essential data. Yes, any example should not be quoted in the journal papers. And use color only when it is necessary. Otherwise, don't use any colors. And these are the some results what I picked up uh, to give an example how the colors can be viewed and table captions figure. If we can see here for the table, we have to give the caption on the top of the table. Most of the researchers, when I review some papers, they give this table caption underneath below. It is not so. You should give it on the top. But for the figure, the caption should be below. That is the usual norms we follow. So that has to be taken care. Maybe in some agency or somewhere we may miss out, but it should not happen. But care should be taken. And remember to avoid long and boring sentences, repetitive writing, discussing or explaining explanation of your results, include raw data or intermediate and some calculations. We have to avoid all this because raw data we not put it on the journal paper. That is for ours. For us, it is. You have to put the final results. When the reviewer asks, "How did you get what?" Some calculations he may ask you to submit in separately. Then you have to give the explanation. Some data is required, and some sentences should not be compound. It should be simple and readable, and repetitive should be avoided. Repetition should be avoided. Discussing on explaining your results. Okay. And some after results writing, we have to pick up the discussion. Discussion is very important, which tells that you have when the results are there. Usually, what happens? The tendency of a result, student tells that result is itself as a discussion. No, on the results, whatever we got, we have to discuss. What is the discussion should be made? The discussion should be interpreting your results and support all your conclusions with evidence. With evidence, it should be done. Without evidence, it cannot be. Because don't worry, already the evidence is there about the methodology and the results. So your discussion becomes very easy. So there is a complete evidence we are providing. Start with a short paragraph that gives an overview of the work. Definitely, in the discussion, you have to summarize the work you have carried out, and then we have to, that is what a short paragraph has to be given of your work. Don't start immediately with the discussion of the results. No, we have to summarize a brief introduction has to be given about the work. Summarize the most important findings and, if applicable, accept or reject the proposed hypothesis. Yes, we have to highlight what is the purpose of writing a paper. We have to highlight that result, whatever we have obtained in the laboratory. We have to highlight that, and we have to accept or reject the proposed hypothesis. Identify the most important or interesting, significant, remarkable findings of your research. That is what I was telling here. And refer to the other works in the literature that address this topic and how this work contributes to the overall field of study. That is what. If there is some parallelly some work has taken place in the literature work, we have to give some differences. What is that different and what is here? What is that marginal difference or narrow difference or major difference? So we have to explain in detail that reference, taking that reference or literature, addressing that is very important. So after result, it should be separate section. After result, it should be separate section as a discussion. And we have to remember, make the discussion concise. It should not be too lengthy also. And complete informative. No examples, no nothing. You have to completely, we have to talk completely on the results only. Nothing else we'll be talking here. But follow up research questions. We have to follow up the research question. Obviously, we'll be doing the same. What to avoid? Making statements that go beyond the results that can support. Because in discussion part we are only talking about the results with it. So I'm not supposed to move or deviate apart from the results. Introducing new terms or ideas in the discussion section should be avoided, completely avoided, because we are talking about discussion with respect to results. So there's no question of any terms or any new terms of introduction. Yes, because the reviewer will be biased. How come it is not there in the introduction, in the literature, or in the methodology, or not in the results? How that new word or new terminology has come into the picture of discussion? So there should be any introduction, we have to make it in the initial portion only. Finally, it comes conclusion. We have to conclude. So the conclusion should highlight how your research contributes to the current knowledge in the field. Refer to your next steps in the research field, that is one of the journal what I picked up, and suggest future experiments and point out those that are underway. So these are the conclusions we have to draw completely with respect to your research. With respect to your results, avoid summarizing the paper. The abstract is that purpose. In conclusion, we don't have to summarize. We have to conclude very beautifully. We have to conclude taking care of research contributions, right? And suggest some future experiments, but we should not summarize them. Making a list of trivial statements of your results should be avoided. No trivial question statement should come into picture. Making judgments about impact should be avoided. Using uncertain words like might, probably, no. When I'm concluding, finally, I'm concluding my work. So I'm fixed to it. So possibility of or deviation maybe, may not be. I should not use such words. So one has to conclude very beautifully, very beautifully. So we understood abstract, introduction, methodology, then what is that, results, then discussion, then coming to the conclusion. Then finally we have to acknowledge, because it is a part of the work. It is a part of the work. Acknowledgement is very important. In the last class also, I mean, sorry, in the last phase also, we were talking about what is the acknowledgement. When we take refer any other journal paper, we have to acknowledge them completely within the paper context only. But apart from that, if somebody else or contributed, any student or any affiliations you would have received, we have to acknowledge them also. Then coming to the references, which is very the last one, references. In the references section, you have to include all the references that has been cited. Yes, it is very important. It depends on its own style. You can see sometimes in the references, you can see hyperlinks are there. If I just click on the hyperlink, it will be running the or moving to the same journal paper. So that a possibility also you can do, or you can just merely you can type in any style, or usually we follow the Stanford University reference style we pick up. So you have to include all the references that have been cited in the text in the alphabetical order by the first author. Yes, first author has to be you. It can be in a alphabetical order or year wise also. It depends. It depends on the journals. Or journal has given an instruction what type of references you have to write. Whether it is following the alphabetical order, or whether the paper should be according to the year wise, or whether the references should be in the order of the journal cited in the paper. If I cited the first paper in which is in the 1893, I have to write that as a first reference paper. If the second paper appears to be 2001, then that becomes a second paper. 2010 or 1996, like that it goes. So we have to take care of the references. That is what we have to undergo to the journal instructions. There it is being clearly described about the references. Avoid citing personal communications. Yes, we have to avoid all that references which we have personally communicated. Unpublished observations should not be made. It should be scopus publications. Manuscript submitted but not yet accepted for publication. Such references should not be made. Articles published only in the local language, which is difficult for international readers to find. That type of papers should not be referred. So we should take utter care about the references. So moving ahead, this is a Harvard University style of references, which is followed with the alphabetical order. So Stanford or any type, we can go follow accordingly, right? So with this knowledge already we know all about, and I would like to tell about more originality. Plagiarism is a massive violation in the research field, so you have to be certain of the sources of all data and text. Follow the instructions. If you are writing a journal with a specific style guide, follow the instructions given in the journal paper. Then revision. After finishing the paper, you should revise it several times and remove any redundant words. That's what you have to make as draft 1, draft 2, draft 3. A complete rehearsal or revision of the paper will go on. It has to pass through a guide and research, or yourself you can publish, wherein you can take somebody help. And also for the English, you can always ask your best your friend or some researcher or any teachers of your to check for the English also. English is a very important. So therefore, it goes undergoes many iterations of corrections. So how this copyright and plagiarism both play a major role, and we can see two circles. One circle is talking about copyright, the other circle is talking about plagiarism. When it is combined together, how it is acting as a both. So in copyright is nothing but photocopying a whole journal and distributing it to students while giving credit to the authors. That is copyright already. Sharing a collection of poetry from 1700 without citing the author. Yes, that is also when both are put together. What happens? Paraphrasing a large portion of textbook without crediting the author. So in the references, we have to always credit the author. In the body of the journal, we have to always credit the author with the journal cited papers. That is most important. And these are the few more tips about further useful tips talking about. I entitled how it should be abstract, then introduction, then results and discussion, and the references and timing. Block out times for writing. Block out, we cannot. Consider having regularly scheduled times to write. Yes, you take a break. You write today. Write one content of the paper. Take a break of 2 days. Go write once again, or go read the paper once again. You may understand. So block out time. There's no time limit. It's not at all a time limit. We have to wait. It takes its own shuttle of uh, to come out as a paper. Choose a time according to when you tend to function best, isn't it? That is very important. See, timing. Choose the times according to when you tend to function best. I'm stressed today. I have to sit with the paper writing. No. It's not at all possible. We have to function where it is the best output I can give. That is very important. And citation is very important. In general, use your own words. When using other words, put the material in quotation marks. If it's short, indent to long. Always cite the source if a fact or idea is not your own. Writing, avoid very long paragraph sentences. Consider using headings, bullets, italics, boldfaces. Then make ease to understand paragraph. Before submitting your manuscript to a journal, read the final version several times. Seek feedback from others. Yes, this is very important. Seek feedback from others, your own colleagues, your own research. Ask or request them. Baba, you go today. You take this paper and read and come back. That is very important. You should have a friendly read, and your friend or anybody of your colleague or anybody you can refer them and ask them or request to give the input. So therefore, takes a beautiful shape of your own work. That is very important. So, as a researcher, you would want to submit a research article. So till now, we have seen like how to. I was just telling how to write a paper, how it takes its own shape, and what to include, what not to include, what is the best, and how it is possible. Now, I finished writing a paper. Suppose today I finished writing a paper. My big question is like which journal I have to pick up. Though I may not undergone with the instruction of journal, I just sat with these headings. I just sat at home or at my office or at my laboratory and started writing all the complete length of paper. Because today my Microsoft tool is wonderful. I can no time I can change the format, isn't it? But I can sit at home or at my office or at my laboratory. I can frame the content of the paper. Now I'm biased. I'm confused where I have to put, where I have to submit this paper, because it is of my all days effort. It is a all days effort what I put, because it is not possible in no time I have to submission. Is it will not take much time also, because of today's software available, it will not take much time. But sitting and writing days together or months together or maybe a year it may take its own time and line. So I should not hurry up there. I should not at all hurry up in submitting the my paper into the journal. I have to look for a best journal where exactly it will fit in. I can fit in. So, as a researcher, you would want to submit a research article. Definitely, have to select a journal that fits your area of research, as well as finding out if it is indexed in key abstract indexing database, isn't it? It is very important. Indexing is an important word. Most of us are aware of it, and we have to look for International Scientific Indexing (ISI), Science Citation Index, those journals, or Science Citation Index expanded form is also available, or Emerging Sources Citation Index is also available, or Scopus is also available. We have to suitably select which database and on indexing have to pick up. Identify the journal of your own choice, and its type of indexing could be anchor in itself, because when I choose the particular type of database or indexing, I'll fit into exactly the type of indexing could be correct. Now, I would like to show this is a link available with us already. It is available. Most of us, every one of us know here. This is a Scopus link. This Scopus link, I would like to minimize the screen now here, and I'll open this Scopus link. It may not take. I think this is visible. The screen is visible with you. Fine. And I'll stick here and run this website. And now here we can see here, most of us know about this Scopus. Now every year there's a release of Scopus source list, Scopus source list, book title list, Scopus discontinued source list, and content coverage guide also it is available. So when I Scopus source list, when I open this, and we can see here, this is the one downloaded form what I get here. This is a Scopus list. I'll put this dialog box side to one corner, and we'll see to the Excel. This is the database. You can see here Scopus source October 2020. This Excel sheet was released on the website. Which website? On this website. I have taken from here, I downloaded here, and this is the Excel sheet what I have got it, and this is telling it is being released in October 2020. All right. Then as of now I'm not worried. You can also, with your interest, you can surf this serial conference proceedings and all conference proceedings. More information on medicine, ASJI classification codes. Okay. Now as of now, particularly I'm looking at the Scopus sources October 2020. Now, when I start initially afresh, if I don't know anything, like I would like to read the title heading, source record ID, then comes source title, then print ISSN number, that is International Standard Serial Number, then e-print of ISSN, whether it is active or inactive, I'll get to know here. Titles discontinued also it is telling. Which are the titles? The titles, the journal names, whether they are discontinued or not, it will be told. Then which year it was coverage. Coverage from which year? It is existing from which year it is being told here. Article language, we have to check. Most of the article languages will be in the English only. And this is the most important, like the site in the 2017, because this Excel sheet was generated in 2020 October. So previous last 3 years we can see the site score. Why it is so important, how it is important, I'll tell you here. Then you have many more columns telling its own description. So as of now, I'm not talking about all the remaining, but here I'll be talking about the title and the activeness and the site score. It is very important. I think most of us know here about all this content, but I would like to address a few more things here. Now I have picked up one of the journal paper, which is of Journal of Materials in Engineering, Civil Engineering. First, I want to check whether this journal is within the scopus or not. So I'll find all. It will search. Yes. So it has searched the title. It has searched the title, telling that it is having a score ID as this is score ID. I'm not bothered. Journal of Materials. I'll go a little down. I'll move the scroll down. One second. Yes. Materials, and this is the ISSN number, right? This is ISSN number, that is International Standard Serial Number. Fine. Now this is ISSN number. Yes, it is active. It is active. I close this window box. It is active. From when it is active? It is active from 1989, and it is ongoing. It is ongoing, and the language of the journal is English. And it is English. See how beautiful it is. The site score, it is increasing. In 2007, the site was scored with 3.5. It is all percentile. This 3 is in the terms of percentile, 3 percentile, 3.5 percentile, 4.5. It is increasing. It is increasing, isn't it? Similarly, so we understand that it is active. This is scopus, under scopus. So there is no worry to publish the paper what I have written under this journal, right? I would like to pick up, for example, I would like to pick up one more paper here, Journal of Material Processing and Manufacturing Sciences. So this is ISSN number, but one has to be careful. It is inactive. It is no more in existence. It is no more in existence. It has been removed from the scopus. It is removed from the scopus. So it was existing in 1994 to 2002, and 1992 also it was existing, but no more it is. So you don't find any side scope. You can see here one more paper telling that Journal of Materials Processing Technology, which is active and which is ongoing. I mean, it is existing from 1990, and it is in English language. But see the site score, very nice. It is 6.4 percentile, 7.5 percentile, 8.5 percentile. Very good. It is very good of good site score factor value. So keeping this in mind, let me go pick up this Journal of Materials in Civil Engineering. I'll copy this. I'll go to the website now. I'll go to the website. I'll go to the website. When I go to the website, I can see here the Journal of Materials in Civil Engineering, ISSN number, October 13. We can see here all the details here, subscription. Fine. I would like to look at this paper. We can see the paper here, the detail, the authors, right? And we can see it is here written as received in the August 2011 and been accepted in October 2012 and published online in 2012. See, such a almost it is taking more than 1.5 year. August, September, October, 1 year, 3 months. It is taking 1 year, 3 months to submit or getting accepted such paper. And after once it is being accepted with a date also it is being given. It is accepted and being published on October 3rd in 2012, right? So I would like to go into the menu, login for the same. I think it's not existing, the login. Yes, it is existing. I could make here. See, I have already logged in. I'm just making an attempt here. So username I have entered here as an author, and I'm trying to submit new manuscript. This is only an example I would like to present here. Then there are some things which we have to take up and proceed further, which will be talking all about the contents and what it is, technical paper, what paper, reviewers, and all that data will be illustrated. So article type I have already selected. Then it is asking for attached file, journal information, reviewer reference preferences, additional information, manuscript data. So once I browse, I pick up the attached file. I'll pick up the attached file. I'll take some file. Okay, I'll take some file and attach it. So attachment is over. With that, attachment is over. Okay, then with that it is asking to choose what it exactly is. I'll choose it as manuscript. Then further I'll proceed. I proceed with that. Then there are many things, general information I have to give, reference, review preferences. So once you take up such journals to publish, right, whatever the paper what we have written, once I have to publish, it will take the path how to take up. Okay, this is an idea of the content of Scopus journals. Scopus journals. So in the Scopus journals, we understood that they gave DOI number and received date also they gave, and accepted date also it been told on the website itself, and it is available online. Now this is a Scopus journal and we pick it from the data. Let's go order 2020. Every time we have to check on in which year it has been, this database has been created. So always if I take a material like Journal of Material Science Letters, where I have to check whether it is active or inactive. Whether it is active or inactive, we have to keep check, and then we have to proceed with the publication. For example, I find some papers which are not listed in Scopus. What has to be done? What has to be done for that? So let me take one example of the same. I'll take an example of journal of some journal of materials, journal of civil engineering. Civil engineering. I'll take this paper. Let me check whether it is under Scopus or not. Because I don't know all about it, then I took this journal paper. It has been already told that it is under Scopus and all that. We do this way. I took a journal and open the website, Civil Engineering Journal. It is existing. Then it is telling it is been Scopus and all that. Now ISSN number is given. Yes, it is given. I'll check for this ISSN number. I'll pick or Civil Engineering Journal. I'll check in the database whether it is existing or not. So Civil Engineering Journal. Find it. Yes, it is existing. Civil Engineering Journal, which is an open access. It is active and it is 2010 ongoing. Then see the cite factor. It is very less being cited. It is not cited that frequently. 0.5, 0.7, and 1.4 is a cite value. So cite percentile. Correct. So this way we have to check whether and check the availability whether it is in Scopus or non-Scopus. So I can think of or I can show the examples like that. Similarly, yes, this is the journal which is under Scopus as an example I have quoted here. Now I take up this journal which is been non-Scopus. For example, it's been non-Scopus, but they tell it is under Scopus, but I don't find anywhere telling that it is been when I receive the paper, when I get published or accepted. Such things are not available, but it is under Scopus. But I lack this information on the such type of journals. So one should be very careful with paper publications in the journals, because after writing a days together, months together, and where to publish, we should not get lost. We have to publish in a right way. Okay. With that, I would like to take up any questions from your end.
No, madam, there is no questions, but everyone was saying it is very informative session for researchers and
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, for giving
Thank you,
us
sir.
such a
Thank you,
wonderful
ma'am.
talk on ethics in journal publication. Hope everyone enriched by your words. With this wonderful and knowledgeable talk, we come to the end of the session. I thank all the participants and organizer for making this session as a grand success. Thank you once again, you ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all the participants. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank